We check in with Michigan baseball coach Eric Bakich. Outstanding spring trip his team had. Joining us to reflect upon that and look ahead to the week that will be is Michigan baseball coach Eric Bakich. Coach Bakich, good morning.
Good morning, Sam. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Coach, this is what you couldn't plan it out much better when you talk about how how you really start out. You have a few losses. In there. Heading into the spring, and then you hit the road, you go down to Florida, and boy, your guys really got that winning bug, and then you finish things out strong down there in South Carolina.
Yeah, we did. We had a great trip. Started off in Florida and then moved up to South Carolina and just played extremely well. Be able to go on an 8-game win streak, and most importantly, just play well and get that confidence back. Guys are feeling good right now. There's no question about that.
And so let's start off with the Friday matchup with UMBC down there in Myrtle Beach. Love Myrtle Beach, by the way. But you win that game. You win that game 8-1. Jacob Cronenworth had another big time performance for you.
Yeah, he did. He seemed like he was on base, every time this past weekend. But the big hit in that game, he hit a 3-run home run with 2 outs, so 3 2-out RBIs that really just kind of blew the game open, and we never looked back from that moment because it was a little bit back and forth. They scored first, and it was kind of a tie game there going into the middle innings, and then that 3-run home run really separated and blew the game open, and we ended up beating them 8-1, and largely in part because of that big hit.
And you told us at the beginning of the season, as you're previewing your freshman class, you said, hey, you're going to have some guys that really contributed this year, especially on the mound. And Ryan Newtop in this game, 7 strong innings for you.
Yeah, he's done a really good job of just attacking the zone. He's an aggressive kid as it is when he gets on that mound, and he had all of his pitches working for him, and just in attack mode, just pounding strikes and letting the defense work, and gave us a quality start, allowed us to separate, get some breathing room, and then he kind of held their offense down, and it's exactly what we needed starting a 4-game series. You need to be able to have a full bullpen to have success in 4 games in 3 days, and so that was a big performance out of him to set the tone for the weekend.
Now, Coach, a guy that we began kind of talking about, I know we haven't had very many discussions this year, but a couple of weeks ago we started talking about Carmen Benedetti and what he was doing for you. And then last week we mentioned again, boy, he's Mr. Consistency for you. You can count on him. They get a few hits every game. Really one of your mainstays at the plate. He had 2 hits in that game, but it seemed, looking back on it, Coach, that just set the table for what was to come on Saturday.
Well, you're right. We played a doubleheader Saturday against Toledo and Coastal Carolina, and in 2 games, Carmen Benedetti had 10 RBIs, and that's tough to do. But
you don't say.
It seems like he came up every time with a runner in scoring position, and every time he knocked that run in. So we couldn't have asked for a better day out of him. It's a huge day, not only base hits, but some extra base hits. Well, a bases clearing double, just a tremendous day and a huge boost. And he was locked in. It still is locked in, and he's doing a great job hitting cleanup for us.
It should be noted that we just talked about Jacob Cronenworth. He reached base 10 times, but wanted to spend some time on Benedetti. Coach, as adjustments go, as improvements go. I mean, obviously you expect the guy to get better, but what did you see from him in the off season? I mean, did you kind of see on the horizon this type of growth from him?
I don't think I could tell you that because he wasn't even in the starting lineup on opening day. I think that was because we've been working on his pitching skills as well. He's a 2-way player this year, and like I told you last week, he was warming up at 94-95 against Stetson, and then his outing against Coastal, when he pitched, he was kind of sitting around 92-93. So, he's two-way players, they're splitting their training schedule between both crafts.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't think we got a full scope of what his offensive capabilities were because half the time he was with the pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
And so he wasn't even in the opening day lineup, and but then he gets his first at bat against Long Beach, and he drills a double to dead center field, and it's like, okay, there's a reason this guy was a freshman All-American last year, and he got a ton of big hits last year, and so he just started getting more opportunities, and now he's solidified himself as the cleanup hitter. But Carmen is just one of those kids. He doesn't overthink. He keeps it very simple, and he just looks for pitches that he can drive, and he's got an uncanny ability to put the barrel on the baseball, and he does it a lot.
We're talking to Michigan baseball coach Eric Bakich here on the Michigan Insider, Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, online at WTK.com. Coach, we'll get back to the games. I'm just wondering if you could walk us through, us non-coaches, through your thought process when you have a two-way player. How do you decide whether or not to stick with it or to slide him over and have him concentrate more on one thing like you did with Jackson Lamb?
Well, I think you just have to look at what his ceiling is as a player. And with Jackson Lamb, there's no question that, he was drafted as a pitcher out of high school. Jackson's an extremely competitive kid, so his competitive nature allows him to get some big hits like he did last year. But I think that was a move. You got a 6'8" kid with a power arm. His future in this game is on the mound, and the best thing for him is to start focusing on him being a pitcher. With Carmen, Carmen's a left-handed bat that's got power in his bat. And the pitching thing just kind of came on really late at the end of the fall. We knew he pitched in high school. He didn't really pitch last year. He's been working on his arm strength as an outfielder, and his arm has significantly improved, and it would just happen to be an inter squad where, we needed an extra inning on the mound, and Carmen was the guy to give us an extra inning, and sure enough, he's throwing 90 miles an hour from the left side. And so it's like, okay, looks like we got a new left-handed pitcher.
Hey, man, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, man. To luck up on a lefty that could throw in the mid-90s. I do want to get back to the games, though, Coach. In that second game, you got another strong outing on the mound, this time from Brett Adcock, struck out 7 in 5 2/3 of an inning.
Yeah, Brett gave us exactly what we needed. Coastal Carolina's a good team. They just beat North Carolina last night, 13-2. They got a good club, a regional team. They're a perennial regional program, and he held them down. And he was throwing. He was just attacking the zone. He was throwing hard. All of his pitches were very competitive, and he just did a nice job of keeping them off balance. And that was a game that was very much in question up until the end. And we ended up beating them 10-4, but that was a one-run game there through the middle innings where it could have gone either way, and the game could have been decided by one pitch, one play, one swing. But we pitched. Brett and Brian Paul and some other guys pitched out of some big jams, and our offense was able to separate, put up a huge 4-run inning in the later innings, followed by another 2-run inning there at the end. So Brett really set the tone in keeping their offense down and allowing our offense to separate.
And so then, Coach, you close things out. Obviously, you would like to close things out with a victory, but you had won 8 straight. Then you face off with Akron, and it was different in that it was a pitching duel, and yeah, you lose the game 2-0, but you got an outstanding outing from Keith Lightman in that contest.
Yeah, it's funny. That's the game of baseball. We scored 29 runs on Saturday and couldn't even get anything going on Sunday. It's just crazy how that's just the way the game is, though. Everything we hit found a hole on Saturday, and on Sunday we only struck out twice, and everything that we hit was right at them. Just one of those days where every ball you hit, they either make a great play or make the routine play, and you got to give them credit for they played error-free defense and even made some web gem plays as well. But you're right, it was a great pitching duel. They had a big, tall left-hander on the mound who was just keeping us off balance, really mixing a bunch of different off-speed pitches, staying away from our guys and Keith Lehman was doing an outstanding job of just attacking the strike zone. He was down in the zone. He was making a ton of quality pitches, and it was a scoreless game until the eighth inning. It was 0-0 going into the eighth, and they got a couple of lucky bounces in the eighth and ended up putting up 2 runs, and we didn't have anything going, and it's just one of those days. But certainly doesn't take away from Keith's outstanding performance because he pitched well enough for us to win.
And Coach, that's not a one game sort of anomaly for Keith. He's his last 3 outings, 3 scoreless outings, 18 that spans 18 innings. He's been really strong for you for the season, so for the young season thus far.
He has, and he hasn't even reached his potential yet. I mean, he's doing this, and I think he would even tell you, he's fallen behind a lot of hitters, and he's just kind of gritted his way back, getting behind sometimes, 2-0, 3-1. And still finding a way to put up this type of success. So he hasn't even reached his max potential yet. But we're certainly very excited about how he's competing out there, how he's attacking, and the quality pitches that he is throwing. And he gives us a chance to win every time he pitches. So, yeah, very excited about what he brings to the table.
Just a really, really strong way to bounce back, as we said, heading into the spring break trip. Had some losses below 8-1 over that span to really, really put you in great shape as you head into your last series before Big Ten Conference play, heading out to Kansas to play the Jayhawks. So, Coach, tell us a little bit about what they bring to the table.
Well, there's some familiarity there because we played them last year to end the regular season. They came in for a weekend set. It was the bye week. It just happened to be the last week of the season for those that remember. So they were a regional team last year. We split the 2 games we played with them. They lost a lot on the mound, or at least from a weekend rotation standpoint, and they returned about half of their position starters. So they've had a little bit of a rough start so far in the early goings this year, but still a dangerous club, a Big 12 team playing at their place on the road. Going to be a great challenge for us. We've got some video on them from some of their non-conference schedules already. So that's what we're doing now is we're putting together the scouting report. But a club that is going to be a great challenge. But we feel pretty good about ourselves right now and the way we're playing, and that's kind of going to be the focus is what we're doing and how we're playing the game and enjoying the competition, and how the pitchers and the hitters are making quality pitches, having quality at-bats, and just being extremely tough on the mound and in the box. And we know good things are going to happen if we do those things.
Absolutely, Coach. Outstanding performance over the spring break trip. Good luck with carrying that over to the Kansas matchup, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Sounds great, Sam. Thanks a lot.
All right, that was Michigan baseball coach Eric Bakich.